you're about to discover why the most powerful people in history never chased anyone. Not lovers, not friends, not opportunities, and certainly not respect. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something that 99% of people will never grasp. Something so counterintuitive, so psychologically profound, that it separates the magnetic from the desperate, the powerful from the powerless. By the end of this video, you'll understand why chasing is the fastest way to lose everything you want. And more importantly, you'll know exactly how to become the kind of person others chase instead. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really wanted something from someone? Their attention, their approval, their love. And what did you do? You chased, didn't you? That was your first mistake. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that fortune favors those who know when to advance and when to retreat. But he understood something deeper. Something he never wrote about explicitly, but demonstrated in every relationship he ever had. The principle of magnetic power. You see, most people have it backwards. They think showing interest means chasing. They think caring means pursuing. They think love means constantly proving your worth. They're wrong. Every time you chase someone, you're telling them something about yourself. Something you probably don't realize you're communicating. You're saying, I am less valuable than you. I need you more than you need me. I am incomplete without your validation. And here's the psychological reality that most people can't handle. The moment someone believes they're more valuable than you, they lose interest. It's not cruel, it's not evil, it's just human nature. Machiavelli understood this. He knew that power isn't about force, it's about perception. And the fastest way to destroy someone's perception of your value is to chase them. So let me tell you about magnetic power. The kind of power that makes others chase you instead. Picture this scenario. There are two people. Person A calls every day, texts constantly, always available, always eager to please. Person B is selective with their time, doesn't always respond immediately, has clear boundaries, seems content with or without your presence. Which one do you value more? If you're honest, it's person B, and that reveals something uncomfortable about human psychology. We value what we can't easily have. We desire what seems just out of reach. We chase what retreats from us. Machiavelli observed this in the political arena. The prince who seemed desperate for alliances was ignored. The prince who seemed content to rule alone had ambassadors lining up at his door. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding a fundamental truth about human nature. Perceived value determines actual value. Let me explain the psychology behind this. When someone chases you, your brain interprets this as a sign of lower status. Evolutionary psychology tells us that high-value individuals don't need to pursue. They're pursued. Your subconscious mind processes constant availability as desperation. And desperation is the opposite of attractive. But here's what's fascinating. When someone isn't chasing you, when they seem perfectly fine without you, your brain starts to wonder why. What do they know that you don't? What do they have that makes them so self-contained? This creates what psychologists call the scarcity principle. The less available something is, the more valuable it seems. Machiavelli applied this ruthlessly. He would withdraw his attention from those who took it for granted. He would become scarce when others expected his constant presence. And inevitably, they would begin to chase him. Now I need to address something important here. This isn't about manipulation or playing hard to get in some childish way. This is about becoming genuinely self-sufficient. Because here's the truth that no one wants to hear. If you need someone else to complete you, you're already operating from a position of weakness. Machiavelli's magnetic power came from his genuine independence. He didn't pretend to be self-sufficient. He actually was. So how do you develop this authentic self-sufficiency? Before Machiavelli became one of history's most influential political minds, he learned a crucial lesson. He was once dismissed from his position, exiled, tortured. Everyone he thought was loyal abandoned him. In that moment of complete isolation, he discovered something profound. He didn't need their validation to be valuable. He didn't need their presence to be complete. He was enough by himself. This is the foundation of magnetic power. Complete emotional independence. Most people are terrified of being alone. They need constant validation, constant connection, constant proof that they matter. This neediness is repulsive to others, not because people are cruel, but because neediness signals low value. Think about the most attractive people you know. Not physically attractive, but magnetically attractive. What do they have in common? They seem perfectly content with their own company. They have rich inner lives. They're not constantly seeking external validation. They've learned what Machiavelli knew. Your relationship with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship you'll ever have. Here's how you build this foundation. First, become fascinated by your own mind. Machiavelli spent hours analyzing power dynamics, human nature, and strategic thinking. He was never bored because his inner world was rich and complex. When you're genuinely interested in your own thoughts, your own growth, your own projects, you stop being desperate for others to entertain you. Second, develop what I call outcome independence. This means you can take action without being attached to specific results. You can express interest in someone without needing them to reciprocate. You can make offers without needing acceptance. You can be vulnerable without needing validation. Third, create a life so fulfilling that other people are an enhancement, not a necessity. Machiavelli had his writing, his analysis, his intellectual pursuits. When people entered his life, they added to something that was already complete. But here's where most people get this wrong. They think independence means being cold or distant. That's not magnetic power, that's just being antisocial. True magnetic power is being warm and engaging while maintaining your center. It's being interested in others without being desperate for them. It's caring without chasing. Machiavelli was charming, witty, engaging. But he never compromised his principles for acceptance. He never changed his opinions to be liked. He never chased those who showed him indifference. And this brings us to the most counterintuitive aspect of magnetic power. There's a moment in every relationship, romantic, friendship, professional, where someone tests your boundaries. They become less responsive. They show less interest. They take your attention for granted. Most people panic at this moment. They double down. They chase harder. They try to win the person back through effort and persistence. This is exactly the wrong response. Machiavelli understood something that modern psychology has confirmed. People pursue what moves away from them and take for granted what moves toward them. When someone starts treating you with indifference, the magnetic response is strategic withdrawal. Not out of anger, not out of punishment, but out of self-respect. Let me tell you what happens in the other person's mind when you withdraw strategically. First, they notice the change. The attention they were taking for granted is suddenly gone. The validation they were receiving has stopped. Second, they start to question themselves. Did I do something wrong? Why aren't they pursuing me anymore? This creates psychological tension. Third, they begin to remember your value. All the positive qualities they were ignoring suddenly become more apparent when they're no longer easily accessible. Fourth, and this is crucial, they start to chase. Not because you manipulated them, but because you reminded them of your worth by withdrawing it. Machiavelli used this principle in political negotiations. When other leaders took his counsel for granted, he would withdraw it. When allies assumed his loyalty, he would create distance. Inevitably, they would return, offering more respect and better terms. But strategic withdrawal only works if you do it correctly. Here are the rules. Rule number 1. Withdraw from a position of strength, not weakness. This isn't about running away when you're hurt. This is about stepping back when you recognize you're not being valued appropriately. Rule number 2. Make it about self-respect, not punishment. You're not withdrawing to hurt them. You're withdrawing because you value yourself too much to accept poor treatment. Rule number 3. Don't announce it. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Simply become less available. Actions speak louder than words. Rule number 4. Fill the space with other activities. Don't withdraw and then sit around hoping they'll notice. Withdraw and redirect your energy towards something productive. Rule number 5. Be prepared for them to not chase you back. True magnetic power means being okay with either outcome. If they don't pursue you after you withdraw, you've learned something valuable about how they really see you. Now here's what separates the truly magnetic from the merely manipulative. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." This principle applies perfectly to attention. Most people give their attention freely and constantly. They're always available, always responsive, always engaging. This makes their attention worthless. Magnetic people understand that attention is currency, and like any currency, its value is determined by its scarcity. But here's the sophisticated part. It's not about being unavailable to everyone. It's about being selectively available. It's about making your attention something that's earned, not given. Think about it this way. If someone can get your attention anytime they want through any behavior, what incentive do they have to treat you well? None. But if your attention is reserved for those who demonstrate respect, appreciation, and genuine interest, you create a different dynamic entirely. Machiavelli applied this ruthlessly in his correspondence. He would respond immediately and thoughtfully to letters from those who showed him respect. But letters from those who were dismissive or took him for granted, those might sit unanswered for weeks. This wasn't petty revenge, this was strategic communication. He was training people how to treat him. Here's how you apply selective attention. Respond quickly and warmly to people who show genuine interest and respect. When someone values your time, values your perspective, treats you well, give them more of your attention, not less. But when someone is consistently indifferent, dismissive, or takes you for granted, become less available. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Let me give you a practical example. Someone texts you constantly when they need something, but rarely responds when you reach out to them. The magnetic response is to match their energy. When they text you next time, take your time responding. Don't ignore them completely, but don't prioritize someone who doesn't prioritize you. Another example would be if someone only calls you when they're bored or need emotional support, but they're never available when you need the same. The magnetic response is to gradually become less available for these one-sided interactions. This isn't about keeping score or being petty. This is about training people to value what you offer by making it not freely available to those who don't appreciate it. But the most powerful application of selective attention is this. Give your best attention to yourself. Become the most interesting person in your own life. When you're genuinely engaged with your own growth, your own projects, your own development, you naturally become less desperate for others' attention. And when you're not desperate for their attention, yours becomes more valuable. This brings us to the final and most important principle. After studying Machiavelli's life, his relationships, his rise and fall and rise again, one quality stands out above all others. One trait that made him truly magnetic, that made people seek his counsel, crave his approval, and chase his attention. Complete indifference to outcome. This is the ultimate magnetic quality. When you genuinely don't need a specific outcome from any interaction, you become incredibly powerful. You can be honest without fear. You can set boundaries without anxiety. You can walk away without desperation. Most people enter every interaction with an agenda. They need the other person to like them. They need approval. They need validation. They need a specific response. This neediness is repulsive because it places the other person in a position of power. When you need something from someone, you give them the ability to manipulate you. But when you're truly indifferent to outcome, when you're completely fine whether someone likes you or not, whether they approve of you or not, whether they choose you or not, you become magnetic. Why? Because indifference to outcome allows you to be authentic. You say what you really think. You act according to your values. You don't modify your behavior to get a specific response. And authenticity is the most attractive quality in the world. Machiavelli demonstrated this repeatedly. When powerful leaders tried to intimidate him, he remained calm and spoke truth. When potential allies tried to manipulate him with flattery, he was unimpressed. When enemies tried to bribe him, he was incorruptible. This wasn't because he was emotionless. It was because he was emotionally independent. His sense of worth didn't depend on anyone else's opinion. Here's how you develop outcome independence. First, have so many options that no single person or opportunity can make or break you. Machiavelli cultivated relationships with multiple political factions. When one rejected him, others remained. Second, derive your primary satisfaction from your own growth and achievements, not from others' recognition. When your happiness comes from within, you stop being desperate for external validation. Third, practice walking away from conversations that don't serve you, from relationships that drain you, from opportunities that require you to compromise your values. The ability to walk away is the foundation of all personal power. Fourth, remember that no is often the most attractive answer you can give. When you're selective about what you say yes to, your yes becomes more valuable. And finally, understand this. The right people will appreciate your authenticity. The wrong people will be repelled by it. This is not a bug. It's a feature. Magnetic power isn't about attracting everyone. It's about attracting the right people while repelling the wrong ones. So let me ask you again. When was the last time you chased someone? After today, I hope your answer becomes never again, because now you understand Machiavelli's secret. Magnetic power isn't about techniques or strategies. It's about becoming the type of person who doesn't need to chase anyone. It's about developing such genuine self-worth that you're perfectly content with your own company. Such rich inner life that you don't need constant external stimulation. Such clear values that you won't compromise them for acceptance. When you stop chasing others, something remarkable happens. You start attracting people who appreciate what you truly offer. Not people who tolerate your neediness, but people who genuinely value your presence. The desperate chase people who are indifferent to them. The magnetic attract people who are genuinely interested in them. So stop chasing. Start becoming. Become someone so interesting, so self-sufficient, so authentically powerful that others naturally want to be around you. Become someone who adds value to every interaction without needing anything in return. Become someone who can walk away from anything that doesn't serve their highest good. Become magnetically powerful. And remember, the moment you stop needing their validation is the moment you become truly valuable to them. That's Machiavelli's magnetic power secret. Use it wisely. If this resonated with you, you know what to do. And if you're ready to dive deeper into the psychology of power and influence, I'll see you in the next video.